Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to our block of the month for the Riverton store. We're once again doing it virtually and doing it such that you can come and pick up your block Friday from 3 to 5 and then Saturday morning from 9 to 11. Now, I do have to let you know that just like class, you have to come during that time. I can't make provisions for people who want to come maybe later Saturday. It's just the same as if you attended in class. So I've had some questions about that, so I just wanted to make that perfectly clear. So this is the block that we're doing this month, and as you can see here, it's all about flying geese. And the flying geese is actually a pretty simple block to do. Many of you have done them, you're familiar with them, but let me go through the steps on this. Now, also, there's a lot of different ways you can do a flying geese. There's a lot of different methods out there. But since we have this little detail right here, this flying geese is going to need to be done as a traditional piece method, which means, if you want to come down here, you're going to have a rectangle block that you will cut, and then you'll have two squares that will go on either side. So you have your flying geese like this one right here, and it's called the flying geese because you have this area right here which can normally be called the goose, and then you have your sky. So this is your traditional flying geese block, and I'm going to show you how to do this and the traditional method. So first of all, let me show you the fabrics for each colorway. So this is the fabric for the Americana. So you have your background and your blue, and you'll see here that you have a 7-inch piece cut, which you'll use for your flying geese block like this. And then you'll have your accent pieces, which is right here, which you will provide. And then you have your 8-inch square, which you will cut your squares out of. Now your rectangle is going to be cut 6, let me show you. If you lay this out, 6 3/4. So you'll see with most of your rulers are 6 inches. So in order to cut this at 6 3/8, you're going to have to use maybe one of your bigger rulers. Like I have my 9.5 inch square. So with that, you can cut your 9 3/4 inch square. So you'll just put 9 3/4. You're going to have to move as you cut. Let's get this a bit straighter. As you cut this, you will be cutting it. Let me just show you really fast. So 6 3/4. So you'll just have to move this down, unless you have a longer ruler that is longer than 6 inches, but 6 inches. But most of your longer rulers are 6 inches wide. So if you'll just use one of your bigger rulers, you can actually cut that 6 3/4 inch rectangle, and then you can go through here, trim that off, and then 6, then this is 3, 6 1/4, and then this next cut is 3 3/4. So your rectangles are 6 3/4 by 3 3/4. So I'm not going to cut all of those, but that's your rectangle. You want to cut 8 of those. For each one of your flying geese, you're going to cut a rectangle here. And then you're going to take your bigger square and you're going to cut, where's mine? You're going to cut 12 3 3/4 inch squares. So those are your 3 3/4 inch squares. So you'll need one for each side of your flying geese block. So after you have all of that cut, 12 of these, and then you're going to cut 4 out of your accent fabric, because you'll need 4 on one side of your flying geese. So this particular flying geese will have your background fabric on one side and your accent fabric on the other side. So you'll do 4 of those that way, and then 4 that have the background fabric on both sides. So in reality, you're going to do 4 of these, and you're going to do 4 of these. I think that's right, yeah, 4 of these. So a total of 8 flying geese. So let's show you how to do those flying geese. Let me show you the finished blocks on each one. So this is how your Americana quilt is gonna, block is gonna look like. And this is my accent right here. So you wanna have something that matches well with your blue. And then here is the Batik Square. So this is the 2 you're getting, and then this is your accent piece right there. So let me show you how those go together. So when you do your flying geese with your accent block, you're gonna do the accent block first, and that needs to be on the right side of your fabric. Because if you do it on the left side, this is not gonna work. So if you look at this one right here, you'll see that this one, your accent piece is on the right side of the flying geese, and the rest of them is on the left side. This one you don't have to worry about because they're both the same. All right, so you'll see here on this particular block, you're going to want to draw your line. This line right here is your sewing line, and that's what you're going to put this on, and you're going to sew on that line. But you'll see that I have 2 lines drawn. One is the center line, and then I have another line that's a 1/2 inch apart. Now this is a bonus that I'm giving you today. So if you were to take this, put it on, sew down here, and sew this other one that's a 1/2 inch apart, you cut those apart, and you want to, when you cut this, and flying geese is always trimmed. Let's see, do I have one that's trimmed? Yeah, well, it's always trimmed so that your piece will go this way and create that flying geese. But if you will cut this at a 1/4 inch, just right in the middle of that, you now have not only your first part of the flying geese, which then you will that's your first half. You also have a bonus half square triangle, which you can use whatever way you want to use. I have a couple of here that I've done so you can actually put those together. You can make a pinwheel block with your extras. That's in the Americana. This is a pinwheel block that I did out of the Batik, or you can put them together so you have a square and a square. You can have a lot of fun with these extra little pieces, and you don't have to do this, but then what are you going to do with that extra fabric? You're going to throw it away? Here you go. It actually ends up being a 3 inch half square triangle. So that's just a little bonus that I'm giving to you, something that you can do to use that extra fabric that you're going to get. You can actually put them together in a row if you'd like, just like that. And who knows, you could probably incorporate that into your finished quilt. And so, fun little fact, a fun little thing that you can do with all your extra fabric that you're going to be cutting off. Anyway, so this is your first half of your flying geese. Now you can do that, obviously you're going to do that with your accent, and then with your, I don't know what I did with my other one. I just have too many fabrics here. Yeah, so that one. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your other, and so you'll do that with those, and then now you're going to do this on the other side of your flying geese ruler. You're going to mark the center, and if you want to mark that 1/4 inch, that 1/2 inch line. So then once again, when you cut this, right down the center. You now have your finished flying geese block, at least for sewing. So here's your finished flying geese block. Now, these blocks are a little bit oversized. This one needs to be trimmed to 3.5 by 6.5 inch flying geese. So there's a couple of different methods or tools you can use. Now, you have on here the flying geese ruler by Block Lock. Now, I don't have any of those right now. I have them on order, but I don't have any of them. But what I do have is the flying geese ruler from Quilt in a Day. And you can use this one also to trim your block. So to trim your block up, what you're gonna do is you're gonna put this ruler right on there where your flying geese, the lines of your flying geese go along the lines of the triangle here. And then simply what you're gonna do is you're gonna trim around it. Now, because this isn't a block lock ruler which fits over the seams and locks it in, you are gonna have to watch the movement of the ruler. So we're going to just trim around it. Put that back on there, just like that. So I do have these Quilt in a Day flying geese rulers. You can buy these. These are $11.99, and of course you'll get on your day of the class, you'll get those at additional 5% off. So there's your finished flying geese. It's 3.5 by 6.5. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna lay them out so that you get this particular motif here. You're gonna sew 2 together like this, then 2 together like this. And then when you're done, you'll sew these together to create your final block. These should be 6.5 inches when you get this done. So each one of these blocks should be 6.5 inches so that when you sew them together, it makes your 12.5 inch block. All right? So that's your block. Like I said, it's very easy. Flying geese is very simple to do. Have fun with that. And one thing I want to mention also is that for July, the first week in July is Independence Day. It's the 3rd and 4th. So we are actually going to move our block of the month to the next week, which is, if you look on your paper here, it will say July 10th and 11th. So that's the next weekend after the 4th. So I just want you to make, and we'll probably still be doing a virtual one. And hopefully by August, we'll be back in the classroom. That's my hope. So thanks all for bearing with us and helping us out with all this, and happy sewing. Thanks.